y'all! So today I am doing what I'm calling my desperate 2019 TBR, and that's because these are books I've been meaning to read for years and years and years, and I've just never gotten around to it for some reason. In fact, I think I mentioned a couple of these in my summer TBR last year, which shows you how bad I am at prioritizing these books. The first book I'm going to mention was in my summer TBR, and one of my favorite books, and one of the books that I associate with getting me into reading, is The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. And so ever since then, my mom has always been recommending classic novels to me, and one of those is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And I do not know why I have never really read this book. Like, I know for sure I got at least a third of the way through one summer, but then I just never picked it up again, and I genuinely don't know why. So I know the tiniest bit about what happens in this book. I vaguely remember it. I think I tried reading it like 5 years ago, and I don't remember why I stopped. So this is a book that I really need to go and get through. One of my favorite things on the internet is the Lizzie Bennet Diaries. It is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, but in a vlog format, and I love them so much. So I think when I first found out about them, it was a couple months after all the episodes had aired, and I went and binged through all of them in one night. And I was so obsessed with them that about, I think 4 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, my best friend at the time bought me both companion novels to the web series, which are The Secret Diary of Lizzie Bennet, written by Bernice Sue and Kate Rorick, and The Epic Adventures of Lydia Bennet by Kate Rorick and Rachel Kiley. And I think the writers are all writers or producers from the show. And I love them so much, and there's so many things I want to find out, like what was in Darcy's letter. But I just haven't read it for some reason. So I do really want to get through both of these books. Somehow staying on both the classics and the web series train, I really want to read Emma by Jane Austen. So Emma Approved, similar to the Lizzie Bennet Diaries, is a modern retelling in vlog format of Emma by Jane Austen, and I loved it, and I love Night House in it, and I just really want to find out what the actual book is. I want to see how they've changed it into this whole, matchmaking business in Emma Approved. So Emma by Jane Austen is definitely one of the books that I need to get through. The Book Thief by Markus Zusak has been recommended to me time and time again ever since middle school, and I just haven't read it for some reason, and I know a lot of people really love the book, so I do want to read that book and find out what all the hype is about. In middle school, I participated in something called Battle of the Books, and it's this competition where basically you test your knowledge of stuff in the book, and sometimes it's big ideas, and how does this thing work? But other times it's who was this person's second grade teacher? And one of the books I had to read was The House of the Scorpion by Nancy Farmer, and I didn't know she had a sequel to that book, and it's The Lord of Opium, and I really wanted to read it because I remember vividly loving The House of the Scorpion. So I want to read the sequel. I want to find out what happens after the whole big thing at the end. So The Lord of Opium is a book I'm really excited to read, but I do also have to read The House of the Scorpion first because I know I only remember the vaguest of details from that book. A book that everyone talks about in high school, and a book that I've never been assigned to read, and I've just never read, even though everyone is constantly talking about it, and I feel like I should have read it just because people talk about it so much that I feel like I already know most of the book, is 1984 by George Orwell. And I would really like to find out what everyone is talking about because people keep talking about it and I just genuinely do not know. I don't know. And finally, I've been meaning to get into Rainbow Rowell books for years and I just haven't. And I really want to start with Fangirl. I mean, I own the ebooks of Fangirl and Eleanor and Park, and I still haven't read them for some reason. And I'm really excited about her books because I've heard a lot about them, and I don't know why. I just haven't read them. So Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell is a book that I desperately need to read in 2019. So that was a list of books that I really need to read this year. I'm sure there's more, but this was just kind of the list I've compiled, and also most accessible to me just because I own over half of them. And tell me what books you guys want to read this year, because I know my TBR is too long to get through in my lifetime, so I really need to get better at prioritizing the books I'm going to read. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you sometime. Goodbye.